Friends, today in this video we are going to discuss the poem Voice of the Rain. The poem has been composed by the famous American poet Walt Whitman. CBSE has included this poem in the syllabus of class 11th English book Hornbill. So let us start the video. First of all, we'll have a brief look over the poem. The poem is a free verse. Free verse is a type of poetry where there is no specific rhyme scheme and no specific length of lines. The poem first published in a periodical outing in 1885 and later on it was represented in Leaves of Grass. It is one of the most celebrated collection of poems of Walt Whitman. In this poem, The Voice of the Rain, the speaker listens to the personified rain and compares it to a song or a poem. The poet has also brought in all the stages of the water cycle. And also the poet says that rain has all the rejuvenating power. As the music makes our heart happy, in the same way, rain makes all the nature, all the humanity happy. So, let us start the discussion of the poem. And who art thou, said I to the soft falling shower, which strange to tell give me an answer as here translated. The poem starts in a very conversational tone. There's a question in the beginning of the poem in the very first part. And who art thou? Who art thou is the use of archaic words, meaning who are you? An identity has been asked. Said I to the soft falling shower. The poet says that I said to the soft falling shower, I asked the light rain. The light rain that was falling, I asked it a question, who are you? Which strange to tell gave me an answer as here translated. And it's very strange to tell according to the poet that the rain gave back an answer. The poet in the very beginning personifies rain, treating it as a human being. Students, you know that personification is a figure of speech where an inanimate object is given human attributes. And here the rain has been given human attributes. Rain has been personified and has been asked a question about its identity. And the rain also gives back an answer. I am the poem of earth, said the voice of the rain. Eternal I rise impalpable out of the land and the bottomless sea. Upward to heaven, whence vaguely formed, altogether changed and yet the same. Here the poet has totally mixed science with poetry. I am the poem of earth, said the voice of the rain. Voice of the rain replies back that it is the poem of earth. It's a very beautiful metaphor where the rain has taken the form of a poem for the sake of comparison. Metaphor is a literary device where one thing is given the form of another just for the sake of comparison. Like you have listened, camel is the ship of desert. Camel has been compared to the ship and it is the use of metaphor. And why camel has been compared to ship? Just for a similarity. So in this poem, the poet compares rain, or the rain compares itself to the poem. And why this comparison is there? Because according to the poet, that as poem brings happiness to our heart, in the same way rain brings happiness on the whole humanity. The voice of the rain replied that it is the poem of earth. Eternal I rise impalpable out of the land and the bottomless sea. Its origin is land and bottomless sea. The rain takes its origin from the land and bottomless sea. You have read it in your previous classes. It means in your middle classes. Eternal. This is an eternal and everlasting process, and the rain is impalpable while rising. Impalpable, something that cannot be touched, that cannot be perceived through our senses, especially touch. It rises towards heaven, upward to heaven. We know that from the seas, the water vapors rise to upwards towards sky. And these water vapors are not seen, cannot be touched, cannot be seen. They rise towards heaven. Towards heaven, it means upwards, towards the sky, whence vaguely formed. And there in the sky, these water vapor take a vague form. Vague form mean indistinct, unclear form that is not very specific, as we see that all the clouds do not have a specific or a same shape. Altogether changed and yet the same. although the shape is totally changed, yet the same. Still the water vapor and the cloud is same due to its content, that is water. So the poet says that the origin of the rain is land and the bottomless sea. And from these seas, due to the heat, due to the intensity of heat, water vapor rise towards the sky. And when it reaches the sky, it takes a very indistinct form of cloud. And although the shape has been changed, the physical shape has been changed, but the contents are the same. And this cycle has been presented very beautifully with the help of various figures of speech. If we go by the figures of speech, first of all, the poet has used metaphor by comparing rain to the poem. And later on, it has used oxymoron. Oxymoron is a figure of speech where two opposite words are used side by side, land and bottomless sea. One side there is a surface and the another side there is the depth. And the poet has also used alliteration in the words whence, vaguely. When two side by side words are started with the same consonant sound, that is alliteration. Whence, vaguely, when we pronounce it, the sound is v. And then the poet has also used antithesis in the last part, altogether changed and yet the same. Antithesis is a literary device where two opposite phrases are used. Altogether changed, if something is changed then it cannot be same, and if it is same then it cannot be changed. So the opposite phrases. There's the difference between oxymoron and antithesis. Oxymoron is the use of opposite words and antithesis is the use of opposite phrases or sentences. So the poet has brought in the idea of the water cycle through the use of many figures of speech. I descend to leave the draughts, atomies, dust, layers of the globe, and all that in them without me were seeds only latent, unborn. And forever by day and night I give back life to my own origin and make pure and beautified. Here the poet brings in the healing properties of the rain. The rain that heals everything, that restores the natural freshness, that rejuvenates the nature. The rain says, I descend to leave the draughts, atomies, dust layers of the globe. Descend means come down. The rain has already taken the form of clouds in the sky, and from there it descend. Descend means to come down, to leave the draughts. Leave means wash, draughts mean dryness, atomies mean very small particles, dust layers of the globe. Globe mean earth. The rain says that from the sky it comes down. It comes down and wash away the draughts, the dryness of the earth, every small particle, every dust layer of the earth. Whatever is dirty on the earth, everything is washed away by the rain. And all that in them without me were the seeds only latent unborn. And not only it has the cleaning properties, it has the freshening properties, but rain also gives life to the earth. All that in them without me were seeds only. Without rain there is only seeds. If we plant seeds, if we sow seeds, they are not born without rain. They are latent. Latent means hidden, unborn. And all that in them without me were seeds only. On the earth, there are only unborn seeds without rain. And forever, by day and night, I give back life to my own origin. Rain says that forever, by day and night, every time I give back life to my own origin. I return life to my own origin. What is the origin of the rain? The origin of the rain is land and bottomless sea, from where the rain takes its shape, and then rain comes back to these elements and make pure and beautify it. And I purify the earth and I beautify the earth. It means rain gives back to life to that place from where it takes its own life. The rain takes its life, its shape from the nature, from the earth, and it returns itself to the earth. Not only it returns to the earth, but also beautifies the earth. So the rain has here we can say declare its own healing properties. And if we go by the figures of speech, the poet has used oxymoron, day and night. And then alliteration, descends to leave the draughts atomies dust layers. D sound has been repeated 3 times in this line. This is alliteration. And oxymoron, the use of opposite words. For song issuing from its birthplace after fulfillment, wandering, wrecked or unwrecked, duly with love returns. For song, the poet now reflects on the whole statement or the whole dialogue of the rain. Initially, it was the lines of the poet, and later on, were the lines of the rain. Now, it is the reflection of the poet himself in this parenthesis. That is not the dialogue of anyone, this is only the reflection of the poet. The poet thinks, for song issuing from its birthplace. The poet here compares this rain with a song. This is a parallelism. Parallelism means drawing similarities between two different things. The poet here draws similarity between rain and music, song. For song issuing from its birthplace, rain is very much like to a song. Just as a song takes its origin from a musical instrument or from the mouth of the singer, and it moves in the air, it moves in the atmosphere, it wanders after fulfillment. But when it reaches to the highest pitch, then after this wandering, after this travel, wrecked or unwrecked. Wrecked or unwrecked mean heeded or ignored. Doesn't matter if anyone takes care of song or anyone doesn't heed to or anyone ignores it, duly with love returns. The song or the music returns to its own origin. It dies at the same place where it was originated, and not only it dies at the same place, it dies after creating love and happiness to the listeners. In the same way, rain that took shape from the bottomless sea and land, it returned back to its place, but it did not directly return back. It gave life. It gave life, it means it beautified and it purified the whole nature. So, students, the poet has used in these last two lines, parallelism, drawing a comparison and contrast between two things. So, you can understand that this is a dialogue between the poet and the rain, and the poem has brought in the healing properties of rain and also the parallelism of rain and music, and also all the stages of water cycle through a scientific representation. I hope, students, you have totally understood this beautiful nature poem, and which not only takes in itself nature but also the scientific elements. So, keep enjoying rain, keep enjoying nature, and keep loving literature. Thank you, students.